Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking and subscribing to the channel is free and easy, and it helps me out a lot. If you want to go a little farther with your support, I have Patreon and YouTube membership available, which includes access to the BoshNRoll Discord server, early access to things I'm working on, sideboard plans, cards I'm buying. You could have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use the YouTube membership option, you get sweet, unique YouTube badges and emotes for the channel. If you want to play what I'm playing, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support my channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com. And if you're playing on Magic Online, a cardhoarder.com loan account can let you play any deck anytime. If you want to wear your support, there is BoshNRoll merch available. All of these links are in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Modern, and this is at the request of Tom, one of my Patreon subscribers. Tom this month asked me to play what I want to play. It's like the end of Aladdin, when Aladdin uses his final wish to set the genie free. Touches my heart every time, and I am touched by Tom's request to let me play what I want to play. And what I want to play is Glimpse of Tomorrow combo in Modern. This is a deck I've seen floating around for a while now and haven't gotten an excuse to play it yet, so I'm taking this one. Glimpse of Tomorrow is from Modern Horizons 2. It's one of the suspend spells based on powerful spells from Magic's past, and this one is based on Warp World. What Glimpse of Tomorrow does is shuffle all permanents you own into your library. Reveal that many cards from the top of your library, put all non-aura permanent cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then do the same for aura cards, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this flips all your permanents in play into random permanents out of your deck. And the way that you pull ahead with this is you have things that are more than one permanent, or you have things that trigger when they enter the battlefield, or you have things that win the game when they enter the battlefield and generate more permanents. So we got Colony Garden, that's a land that brings a 0/1 token with it. We got Risen Reef, that's an elemental that triggers off of itself and every other elemental to draw cards or put lands into play. That's more permanents to flip with the next Glimpse of Tomorrow. Seasoned Pyromancer makes 2 tokens. Wave Sifter makes 2 tokens. Chancellor of the Forge, if it's in your opening hand, you can reveal it and create a 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin token. And when it enters the battlefield, you create X 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin tokens, where X is the number of creatures you control. So this is great in your opening hand, and it's insane if you ever flip it off of a Glimpse, because you'll get 1,000,000 tokens for the next Glimpse. And of course, the Eye Roller, Omnath, Lord of Creation. We know what this one does, but whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it's the second, add all colors but black. If it's the third, deal 4 to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. So Omnath, we'll see all of the lands enter the battlefield with it. If you glimpse into Omnath and 3 lands, you immediately get all 3 triggers. If you glimpse into 2 Omnaths and 3 lands, the game will make you pick which Omnath you want to keep, but the one that you put in the graveyard with the legend rule will also briefly be in play. So you get all 3 triggers twice. And then you have a bunch of mana to cast a second round of Glimpse of Tomorrow, and you should be able to shred through your deck pretty reliably and just kill your opponent once you start glimpsing. Goblin Dark Dwellers is something you can hit, and when it enters the battlefield, you can cast an instant or sorcery with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Hey, Glimpse of Tomorrow. So if you glimpse into Dark Dwellers, you get to glimpse again right away. And that's basically how this works. We're just trying to get to 3 mana, and then start throwing Glimpse of Tomorrows onto the stack and throw our deck at our opponent's face. Out of the sideboard, just normal Modern stuff. Leyline keeps you safe from burn and discard. Mystical Dispute fights through counter spells. Fury kills creatures, Ingot Chewer, and Foundation Breaker destroy artifacts and enchantments, and Endurance messes with graveyards. My favorite part of this deck is that you can just be sort of a 4-color elemental deck outside of Glimpse of Tomorrow. And you're not a very good elemental deck. There's also a different non-combo 4-color elemental deck that's really great. But this one does get to kind of simulate that game plan if it's not actively going off. I'm pretty excited for this deck. It's a lot of fun when it does its thing, and it's pretty good at doing its thing too. So let's get into this league. I'm on the draw in round number 1. I have 2 free 1/1s and a turn 3 Warp World. So let's keep it. I am revealing my Chancellors, which gives away what I'm doing, but these 1/1s can also just beat down. Wow, look how sick these are. Oh, scary Phyrexian Goblins. Spirebluff Canal out of my opponent. And I can attack for 2, get my beatdowns on. My 1/1 haste Gobos are doing the thing. Oh, it looks like we're playing against Living End. Interesting. We're both up to some nonsense here. They cycled Street Wraith. Yeah, they're just cycling a bunch of stuff. They're playing Living End for sure. Probably an As Foretold version. A bummer. I guess I'm about to lose my Shardless Agent. This could just come down to play draw. Like they get to do their thing on turn 3 and I don't. That's just good magic. And I'm not allowed to complain about this stuff. I am also doing this thing. Attacking with my 2 goblins. And I could evoke Wave Sifter. Yeah, that actually sounds great. If they're gonna Living End, I want to have a creature in the graveyard as well. So green, blue, evoke Wave Sifter, get my 2 clues, put a creature in the graveyard. And they have taken some damage from these Gobos. This 3/2 flying could get the job done at the other end. Ooh. Walker of Waves, that's fun. Discard Walker of Waves, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand and the other into your graveyard. Okay, cool. Come on, Cascade Spell. Didn't find a Cascade Spell. Did find a Wooded Foothills. Alright, Wooded Foothills. I do have the Risen Reef, is what I'm trying to spit out here. I'm just gonna play the Hallowed Fountain. Cast my Risen Reef. See what happens here. Put Wooded Foothills into play. It seems they have missed a land drop, and the As Foretold costs 3. Assuming that's what they have. We have green mana now, so I imagine Shardless Agent's part of their plan. Okay, so they can Shardless Agent, or they can't Shardless Agent. Now they can do the other thing, the Violent Outburst. Yeah. So they're gonna flip. Yeah, I have no way to... Oh, I guess I could draw with my clues. And no, because I would need to crack both clues to hit my 1 of Endurance and the main deck. And a green card to go with it. Yeah, that just doesn't seem super likely. Okay, I will let this happen. They get to grief me. They get 2 more clues. They're probably going to take my Dark Dweller because it's the only thing that really matters here. This does seem like it came down to they were able to disrupt me and I just had to let them do what they were doing. I can draw 1 card and still have my land drop, or still have my play available. So I'm going to fetch 2 basics to thin out my deck and then draw a card and hope to hit a Cascade Spell. Here we go. Clue time. Cascade Spell. Bummer. Alright. Didn't get there. There's no reason to crack clues now. Okay, so how much damage is this? I have to block the 7, obviously. 5, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, this is not even close. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that was just a crapshoot, and they crapped first. But I did have a 1 or 2 turn window where I could have warped. From the sideboard, Endurance is definitely in the deck. I'm not sure if Mystical Dispute is important. I don't think that it is. Like, I would have to hard cast it because my opponent, their payoff spell is black, not blue. But if they have As Foretold, I don't even know if they have that actually. They could just be cascading into it off of a rug base. What is less good in my deck? I think the Chancellor is not that important compared to the Endurances. Like, Endurance is just my best card here, and it's not even close. I could bring in Leylines to play around Grief, but then I'm starting to thin my deck out and of threats, of hits, and I don't think that's the play. I'm just gonna bring in my 2 endurances and submit the same deck. This is pod racing. On the play, I can keep this hand and try to draw into... I actually think this is fine. Because if they're a grief deck and they're going to be messing with me anyway, then having Seasoned Pyromancer that can change the texture of my hand and not having a particular thing for them to grief my hand into failure mode are both interesting to me. I'll play my Colony Guardian, get my free token. Basically just playing to draw a Cascade spell at some point. Now this is kind of lame because I want to cast Colony Garden, or play Colony Garden, but I'm going to need double red at some point. So I'm just going to play my red source. The play that I actually have to make currently involves Seasoned Pyromancer. So playing to a world where I draw the one of the hits versus just locking in what I know I can do now. I'm going to do what I can do now. Well, that's all 3. That's 3 Street Race. That's a lot of them. That's a very quick 0 to hero moment from them. That's a lot of cards in the graveyard. Come on, deck. Let's do the thing. That's not quite the thing. I think I want to cast Seasoned Pyromancer and discard Dark Dwellers and Risen Reef. Because I want creatures in my graveyard if they cast Living End. I want to do more. Okay. Found an Endurance. That's nice. Now I wish I didn't discard the Risen Reef, but that's life. Having Endurance gives me just a giant feel good here. They activated Waker of Waves, which is not quite cycling, but it's comparable. And they pass the turn again. I could just play Omnath, but then I don't have any green cards for Endurance. I could play another Seasoned Pyromancer and filter 2 cards. I think that sounds pretty good. I'm going to discard 2 lands here. And I drew 2 more lands. Cool. I'm going to play the white source. Then attack with my creatures that can attack. And I think I should Endurance now. Because if they can grief me next turn and then do the outburst in response to grief, then I'm in trouble. Like if they can do exactly that, I'm in trouble. Or I could just pass and hope that it's good enough. Alright, I'm gonna pass and hope it's good enough. Because I guess even if they combo off, I can combo off back at them. Like I'm not just dead if the end resolves. Unlike many other decks. Can I get double green and double red to suspend this and leave up Endurance? So green, green, 1, red, red. Yes, I can. Cool. Red, red. Cycle to Glimpse. They're on notice that my combo is coming. They're also dead next turn on board. Maybe I was supposed to Omnath this turn and just deal 4 to them. But that's not guaranteed. Actually, it's pretty unlikely. Cycling Carabid in my end step. So they're dead on board. My non-combo plan has shown up pretty strong here. So they can outburst, cast the Living End. I cast this and hope they don't have Subtlety, I guess. So put their graveyard on the bottom of their deck. And then Living End is just a Wrath of God. And Omnath ends up in my hand. Okay, they're still dead on board. Endurance is pretty powerful in this matchup. For game number 3, does anything change? I still think no, though the fact that they didn't come out the gates really that quickly makes me think that maybe I do want Hardcast Mystical Dispute as an option in the deck. Do I want that on top of the Endurance, or do I just want to tap out every turn and hope it's good? Because I have the Endurance, which bricks their combo, and I have a combo of my own. When they have Grief, which can disrupt my combo, and they have a combo of their own. So it's kind of This is definitely some pod racing. I think I'm just going to go back in with my endurances and make them count. My hand on the draw here, I'm going to keep it. I can evoke Wave Sifter to put a creature in the graveyard input to permanents in play. And then I have 2 Cascade spells. So I can play around a single Grief. So I guess if they Grief into the living end, they get to take both of them. That sucks. I have to get red source here. I'm gonna get Stomping Ground. I want red and green in my hand. And I have the ability to do both. I'm gonna shock this in. I could have played the basic, but I can also do this. And I don't think life total is super important in this matchup. We're gonna just melt each other into the earth, or we're not. I don't think it's gonna be a nickel and dime situation. And Omnath being in my deck makes me want to set up my mana while I can. Wow, the tapped land, no cycle in the end step's really interesting. A bummer. Yeah, if they Grief and then Cascade, they could just Grief me. Like they could just cut their losses here and Cascade into the thing. It's pretty bad, but it's an option. Oh, Colony Garden. If only you were my 1-drop. I guess I'm kind of priced into going for my agent here. They took the instant speed one, so I'll take the non-instant speed one. Glimpse is on the stack. Let's see what happens with it. Okay, it's hard cast Force of Negation. You got. All right, I'm on board, and their graveyard is not impressive right now. I am beating down. I am doing other stuff. Force of Negation, of course it was Force of Negation. Dark Dwellers doesn't even recast the spell. Good stuff. I'm gonna attack for 2 and then play a Pyromancer. I want to rebuild my hand here and get on board. Is there a Sacred Foundry in this deck? There's not. So I'm not going to have white if I want double red, and I do want double red. So I'm just going to get my basic mountain. Seasoned Pyromancer. Probably going to discard Dark Dwellers, and it's either Garden or the second Pyromancer. The second Pyromancer makes their living end pretty bad, but I think I want the Pyromancer in my hand still. Yeah, just having more stuff in my hand. Like, I don't want to dump all of my spells in the graveyard, then just die to something like Tormod's Crypt You, and then combo. Getting in for damage. Dark Dwellers can't cast anything in my graveyard because it's... Oh wait, you may cast? Okay, so I can cast Violent Outburst, and it counts as casting. So I will be able to cascade off of it. I would like a Hallowed Fountain, please. Let me just make sure this works. You may cast target instant or sorcery. Okay, yeah. Let's go. Violent Outburst. It's combo time. Outburst on the stack. Trigger on the stack underneath it. Casting Glimpse of Tomorrow. Can we go? Another force. Okay, sure. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're almost dead on board. And their graveyard is still unimpressive. Maybe with a Dark Dwellers in the graveyard, I was supposed to just play around counter spells by leaving the other one where it is. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, here comes my attack. See if they combo in response. They did not. That's good. And I'm going to Season Pyromancer, discarding... Or I guess I should draw a card with a clue, so I have extra things to discard. If I discard the Glimpse of Tomorrow, if they living end, it puts this Dark Dwellers into play, which casts the Glimpse from the graveyard. Yeah, I'm just going to dump 2 permanents here. Put them dead on board, and dead if they cast their spell. Cycling. I think what happened here is they kept a hand that was way too reactive. Like they had Grief, Force of Negation, Force of Negation. but I was able to build up a board along the way. I mean, we're not done yet. I haven't won this game, but my graveyard has more and better creatures in it than theirs does. Plus, I can warp world out of the graveyard with the Dark Dwellers casting the Glimpse. Okay, here it is. Shardless Agent. But I hope they don't have their own endurance, I guess. Living End resolves. Go for it. There's so many triggers right now. So I am the non-active player, which means that my triggers will resolve first. Haha, they don't even want to see it. GG's. I'm on the play in the second round against a Lurrus deck of some variety. This hand is not remotely keepable. This hand is better, question mark. Still not great, but it's keepable. I'm going to send one of these Omnaths. Or I guess I want to send the Dark Dweller. I like this hand because it's pretty well set up to draw any of its 8 Cascade spells. And Omnath, if I do have a 1-card hand, Omnath is the kind of card that can win a game on its own. We'll see. I could just get dumpstered by Hammer Time before I do anything. They got a Mishra's Bauble. They bobbled me. Oh, nope, they bobbled themselves. Okay. They're probably doing the scry thing with the fetch land. Another bobble and a fetch land. Marsh Flats, huh? What Lurrus deck plays Marsh Flats? This could be the Mardu deck from Zach Allen and Kyle Bogamus. Mardu Lurrus is like a control variant that those guys have been working on. I've seen it posted on Twitter. I'm not going to attack with my plant token, not even to send a message. I don't know what's in this deck. They could have haste creatures, so I'm just going to not mess with it. Fetched a tap Godless Shrine in the end step. They can't have Grief in their deck because they're a Lurrus deck. They could have Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, Thoughtseize. My hand is 2 of a kind. I'm going to fetch in the end step and hope to draw Shardless Agent. That's the plan. I think I want red here. Yeah, because that can cast Seasoned Pyromancer if I draw it. Bummer. I'll just play a land tapped and pass the turn. They have a Flagstones and a Lingering Souls. Wow, Lingering Souls. What year is it? Okay, sick. Now we get to party. Do I want to fetch first? And I think that I do. That gets 1 land out of the deck. So I think I fetch for a basic forest. And then I float red and cast Shardless Agent. Agent has been cast. Here's the Glimpse. Seasoned Pyromancer's in play. I have 1 red floating, so I can discard Omnath and land. Draw 2 new cards. Alright, that went less good than it could have. At least I can draw a card here. Okay, Violent Outburst set up for the next round. Not bad. That was not the explosion of throwing my deck into play that I was hoping for. Dark Confidant. Wow, it's like they're playing a different format than me right now. Gonna get a red source so I can cast this Violent Outburst. I'm gonna shock this in and then attack with my creatures. Do I attack with my creatures? Yeah, I guess. If they want to throw their board in the graveyard to reduce my output, but I don't think they're even going to do that. I think they're just going to, yeah, make the obvious chumps and then get wrecked. Let's go again. Glimpse. Do I want to pay 2 life? Probably not. Can't really tell what's going on yet. Okay, so I can re-glimpse Colony Garden, Risen Reef. And then I can discard 2 cards, make 2 things, because those are also elementals. Oh yeah, now we're doing the thing. We are actually doing it at this point. Going all the way off. I could pitch Shardless Agent, but I don't think I want to... Like, I can get an extra trigger off of Risen Reef, but I don't think that's required. Alright, new board in play at this point. Oh my god. This is a delight. just going to click these permanents into play or into my hand as appropriate. Oh god, there's so many. I should probably start fetching before all the lands in my deck are gone, because I want to cast Shardless Agent again this turn. Just cracking my fetches. I'm going to go to 8 here. Hope I'm not dead. Colony Garden, yes. More material. And then Shardless Agent, let's go again. I wonder if it's possible to deck myself. That's probably why there's 1 Endurance in the main deck. Just need to hit an Omnath and end this game. Whoa! Okay. I hit more than 1 Omnath. And then... oh god. Can't even find all these triggers. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards, do a zillion damage, get a zillion mana, get a zillion creatures, and then these have haste. Oh yeah, maybe I'm supposed to pre-combat this for that reason. Okay, yeah, they would have been dead for sure if I had pre-combated this. Oh my god, that's so many things. Behold my things! This is definitely what Endurance is in the deck for. So I don't deck myself. Might end up decking myself anyway. Colony Garden's in play. Omnath does not trigger because it's triggered too many times this turn. My Young Pyromancer triggers have triggered Risen Reef more times. Oh my god. I might time out just trying to click through this. Alright, my triggers have all resolved. Now I probably want to Endurance myself and then spin again. Or do I spin again first? Do I just cast Dark Dwellers? Can I even cast Dark Dwellers? I don't think that I can even do that. Is there a glimpse left in my deck? I guess is important also. Let's do a glimpse count. There's 1 in exile. In the graveyard, there's 1, 2. So there should be 1 left in the deck. Let me just make sure I didn't draw it along the way. Yeah, it looks like it's not in my hand. So time for Shardless Agent. Yeah, cast the last glimpse, and then this should kill them with Omnath triggers, because my whole deck comes into play. I guess I should just be paying the life for basically everything. Because I've gained a lot of life off Omnath, so I should be paying the life for my things that ETB. Oh my god. Genuinely concerned about timing out at this point. Okay, gotta make sure I don't deck myself with Omnath also. One of these Omnaths is... or some of these Omnaths are gonna draw cards, and I have 1 card left in my deck, so I'm gonna have to Endurance in response to that. Here, get to investigate twice. Here's the Omnath draw a card trigger, so there's no cards left in my deck. And then... so I'm going to Endurance cast by exiling Risen Reef from my hand. And I want the bottom trigger to resolve after all this other stuff. Risen Reef doesn't draw a card, so I can let those resolve. I want Endurance to die, and then I want it to put everything away and discard the lands, because I don't want to draw and get extra triggers anymore. Yeah, if I had pre-combated this, I forgot about the goblins getting haste. We could have been done with this a long time ago. I have a lot of clicking that's not necessary here. And I can Violent Outburst in response to all these Risen Reef triggers. We don't need to do all this again. Alright. Here's Outburst. Alright, Outburst for my whole deck again. Put the whole deck into play. Just make sure I don't deck myself by accident. Okay, thousands of triggers on the stack. I have all 4 Omnaths, so we should be able to do this here. Oh my god. I've learned an important lesson about haste goblins. The important thing with these Omnath triggers, of which there are literally so many that scrolling through them on Magic Online, I can't even tell if I'm doing anything. I have to put the when Omnath enters the battlefield triggers draw card on the bottom of the stack, and after that it doesn't matter. Oh my god. Magic Online delivering my monthly player rewards while I'm in the middle of trying to navigate this stack. And apparently every time I click one of these things onto the stack, the rest just, it goes back to the top. I'm gonna time out, guaranteed. Alright, so I have 2 of those on the stack now. I have 2 cards in the deck, so I can stack a bunch of these triggers. Yeah, I did not account for all of this. I am genuinely going to time out just clicking through this stack right now. There are so many triggers. I don't know if there is an auto stack button I can press, but this is going slowly. My triggers are on the stack. Thank God for the miracle of editing. I'm pretty sure I stacked them so I'm not going to die. I'm going to gain 16, then I'm going to get a zillion mana, and then I'm going to zap them out, I think. Why do I keep gaining life? I don't understand why I'm gaining life. Do I not understand how Omnath works? Uh-oh. Why aren't they dead? Why do I have so much life and they're not dead? I will have to do some research into that. Like, what the actual hell just happened? Yeah, why do I have so much life? That triggered ability resolved a gajillion times. So Endurance is on the stack now. I should crack some fetch lands, just put more permanents into my deck. More cards into the deck. Oh, I hate this. I don't have time to figure it out right now, but that Omnath trigger resolved a bunch of times. Why did I gain 4 life each time instead of gain 4 life once and then do a bunch of damage and get a bunch of mana? I thought I would have won by now, but apparently that's just not how this works. Oh my god. Okay, there are a bunch of lands in my deck. Let's put them into play. Can Omnath work now? I don't understand. I feel like this game should be over, but instead I'm just losing. Alright, here's 1,000 more Omnath triggers. Do they do anything? Right now my clock is running down, and I don't understand why. I have always yielded. I've said okay. Is Moto just frozen? I don't get it. I think we broke Moto. Yeah, I don't understand at all why these Omnath triggers didn't win the game. I have to concede this game. Like, I can't win, apparently. Like, I could Warp World again. Like, I don't get it. Okay. I am gonna file a bug report for that game. But, geez. If I had just done that pre-combat, I just attack and win easily with my 100 goblins. But I forgot the goblins have haste. I could Fury to, I think, Leyline stopping the discard spells is the best way to play this game. And I just have to win the game very quickly. So I need the Chancellors in the deck. Yeah, this got ugly. I messed up, and I think Moto did something wrong at the same time. I'm doing weird sideboarding stuff. This is not how I'd actually play this matchup. I'm just trying to get the game over quickly. Like, you basically never board out Omnath. I just don't think I can survive its triggers being activated. I have to Chancellor them. I'm gonna keep my hand It has a turn 3 glimpse through a discard spell. Does not beat Chalice of the Void, which is probably one of their sideboard cards, which I did not have time to think about. Colony Garden and pass. We have Basic Plains, Deafening Silence. Okay, that doesn't stop Glimpse with Shardless Agent, because Shardless Agent is a creature. So now if they have a discard spell, they do get to mess me up. Shit. Okay. Gonna have to play Seasoned Pyromancer, I guess. Oh wow. They clearly don't know how their card works. I'll take it. Breeding Pool into play tapped. And then Basic Island. And let's go for a spin. Gonna get at least one spin in here. Yeah, okay. The Dark Dwellers did do the thing. The Silence did stop Dark Dwellers. I can still evoke Wave Sifter here. Green, blue, still a creature. And pass a turn. I think I'm winning this game just with the creatures I have in play. But 2 minutes, not a lot of time. Attack for 6. I'm gonna suspend my thing. Play a land. Ship it. I'm gonna draw a card in the end step, even though I probably don't have time for this. Ooh. Well, let's do it. Oh, there is a glimpse in the graveyard. Let's go. Deafening Silence is not very good against this deck, it turns out. Oh no. Alright. I'm just gonna concede. I can't click through these triggers fast enough, but I am gonna submit a bug report because I think game 2 or game 1 went wrong. Though I could have just made goblins pre-combat. Now I know. I win this match 100% of the time in real life, but Magic Online is a different game than not Magic Online. Next round's coming. We're about halfway through the video, so let me just remind you that if you like this deck and you want to try it out, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com, and you can play any deck anytime with cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. These links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the draw in round number 3. I am gonna mulligan this one lander. I did some digging, and I couldn't find any reason that the Omnath triggers wouldn't just escalate after last round. Like, I think that each Omnath is supposed to draw a card, gain 4 life, make a bunch of mana, then deal 4. And each Omnath should be doing that. At least everything I looked at, nothing seemed to indicate anything to the contrary on that. Alright, well, this Goblin is going to be pretty good blocking Ragavan, though Lava Dart cleans it right up. Alright, Lightning Bolt, sure. There's not going to be a lot of cards in my deck that this Ragavan can make use of. Okay, they took a Stomping Ground. Serum Vision. Okay, so I'm going to suspend my Glimpse, and then hope for the best. I hope there are still 2 red sources in the deck. There should be. But they did just exile a Stomping Ground. Okay, yeah, there's Steam Vents and Stomping Ground both in this deck. So I fetch the other Stomping Ground. I suspend Glimpse. I have to take a bunch of damage to do all this, which is kind of shitty. Actually, I guess I don't. I have a basic mountain, and I can still cast Risen Reef off the Breeding Pool next turn. Yeah, we're good here. 2 Omnath in hand, not exciting. Being on the draw here, not exciting. I think on the play, obviously, well, I guess you're always just better off on the play. This is Modern. Ragavan, exiled Hallowed Fountain. So these Omnaths are not castable. Pretty sure that Hallowed Fountain is my only white source. Indeed it is. Okay, Ragavan wreaking quiet havoc over there. They hit a Mishra's Bauble off their Expressive Iteration, which is pretty lucky. It's the only card, or I guess they have 2 treasures now. They had plenty of things they could hit. They were fine. That was a good iteration. I was about to say they could only cast a 0-drop, but that's just not even true. They can cast their whole deck. Oh, and they were on the play. They stole their land drop. I need to shut up. I clearly have no idea what's going on. Here comes a Murktide Regent, probably. Yep. Maximum size Murktide Regent. Colony Garden, a little slow here. Have to take my damage to play my Risen Reef. Put that in my hand. I don't think we have a chance here. Just being on the draw, under the gun the whole game. About to go to 2 against the Lightning Bolt deck with 4 cards in hand. Not feeling good about this. And they took my Shardless Agent. That was the one thing that was one of the draws that could have still performed this game. I needed a Cascade spell right now, and they need to not have Counterspell, and they can't Cascade into Lightning Bolt right now either. Like, they're going for it. Cascade hit Ragavan. Yes. Blanked it. Okay. Cascade spell right now. Let's get this party going. Okay. I'm dead to the Murktide Regent and can't even do anything. Yeah. Very, very dead. Yeah, that Ragavan finally took a relevant card. If I get to Warp World there, it's for 4 permanents, and probably not good enough, but we at least get a look. Foundation Breaker. They might have Chalice of the Void. That is something that these blue decks do against the decks like this. I think I just want a bunch of ways to break Chalice. Do I want Mystical Dispute? Is that how this matchup's going to go? I think I want to try to be able to play fair while threatening a combo, but I don't know what I want to cut out if I'm doing that. Like, Wave Sifter is one of the few things I can do for 2 mana. I don't really want to cut that. Endurance actually interacts with a lot of what they're doing, but not well enough, probably. Maybe Chancellor is a little too much, or at least not as good as these things, though, like we just learned, the Chancellor's pretty important to winning in the appropriate time period. I really hate that I have to leave this card in that I don't want because of the Moto interface, but I did sign up to play Moto, so can't be too mad about it. I think that I'm gonna bring in 1 Mystical Dispute. That sounds so stupid. Like, I feel like I should have Mystical Dispute or these Answers to Chalice, or I guess maybe 2 of each is fine. Okay, I'm doing this. Let's go. On the play with a Shardless Agent. I'll keep it. Just gonna play one of my fetch lands and pass. Oh, there's Ragavan. No surprise there. I don't really have 2 drops, so I'm just not gonna crack my fetch until they bobble me. I'll at least deny the small amount of information they might get from that. I want to get Breeding Pool. So I want double red and double green at some point. Okay, just playing my shock land, just trying to save my life total where I can here. Ragavan's gonna get it in once, and then I have Seasoned Pyromancer and Endurance that can stop him from getting in more. Oh. Oh! Guess I should have planned for that. I could have easily played around that and just fucking didn't. Alright, Seasoned Pyromancer, let's go, buddy. You're up. Discard Omnath and probably Endurance, because I do want the full boat of tokens. Yeah, didn't plan for that one. At least didn't plan for it on turn 2. Probably should have in every direction there. There are basic islands in my deck. And by basic islands, I mean there is a basic island in my deck. This I can exile for 5 to make more elementals. I'm going to get in with one of these. I have to start pushing for damage somewhere, but I don't want them to connect with Ragavan either. And I left in the Ingot Chewers, but cut the Disenchant one, the Naturalize one. Ooh, that's a card I can cast. I'm going to attack for 3 now. I can also still suspend the Warp World. I think I just want to cast this thing. Just 4/4 mode. Core set limited, 5 mana, 4 menace. Let's go. It's in play. Bigger than Lightning Bolt. Bigger than everything. Come on, basic island. Oh yeah. We're doing it. I'll keep leaving back 1 elemental. I think the clock is the same and I still get to insulate against the Ragavan connecting. Couldn't answer the last one. Here comes another 4/4. I was worried about that Blood Moon, but Seasoned Pyromancer is a hell of a drug. Okay. Got away with one there. So I don't want to board out any of my Seasoned Pyromancers, it turns out. I think Mystical Dispute probably sucks. I like Foundation Breaker better. That can answer the Blood Moon. Chancellor is fine. I do like the one of Endurance. Do I like the one of Endurance? Do I want more Endurance? Do I want less Endurance? Do I want to cut Blood Moon or Omnath knowing that Blood Moon's in the deck? Because drawing one just becomes completely heinous. So I can fetch for basics. I guess I don't need all the Ingot Chewers if I have the Disenchant or the full Naturalize fella in here. And I don't think I want to interact with them on the stack. I guess countering Murktide Regent could be a big deal. But I think I want to let Endurance do a lot of that work. I'm going to bring in another Endurance and cut an Omnath. Just Endurance on stats and on rate in this matchup is pretty great. Okay, here's my deck now, and I'll know about basic lands. I think I spent last game rooting to draw a basic island, as if I could cast the Shardless Agent with it, when obviously I could not do that, so I need to relax. This hand on the draw, it has the Outburst, it has Seasoned Pyromancer. I'm gonna keep and have faith in my deck to draw land. Colony Garden can absorb a Ragavan hit if I'm super worried about that. Ooh, no Ragavan. I didn't know this deck could do that. They could also be setting up like a Lightning Bolt dash Ragavan situation. Alright, just Island, so probably Thought Scour, yep. Drawing a land here would be great. Okay, drew a land. Now I gotta figure out, this gets, the Wooded Foothills gets basic Forest, which lets me cast Violent Outburst through Blood Moon, and then the Misty can get basic Island if I get another turn. And if they don't have Blood Moon, I can just not do any of that stuff. I think I get the Stomping Ground here. They didn't have Blood Moon. Yeah, so if I get Stomping Ground, then I can get basic Forest with the, or basic Island with this, and set up Risen Reef. I'm just gonna start trying to pull ahead on permanents, on material. Counterspell, sure. I have the Seasoned Pyromancer and 2 Dark Dwellers if they do have Blood Moon. Yeah, that's just not even a big deal. And the Seasoned Pyromancer can discard Omnath and Violent Outburst, and then Dark Dwellers can cast Outburst. Cool. This deck is insane. So they had their control deck version. This is probably Murktide Regent. Oh, nope. Oh yeah, it is Murktide Regent, sure. So they would need Force of Negation to stop this from happening. And it's go time. Alright, let's party. Straight through a Blood Moon. No F's given. Okay, so Seasoned Pyromancer on the bottom. Chancellor. Okay, yeah, they're just packing it up. Yeah, no respect for Blood Moon. I'm really into that. I thought, when I saw the Blood Moon in game 2, I thought we were just dead, but we just had a fair game plan through it. And there's a reasonable line to just combo through it as well. Like multiple reasonable lines. 1 basic Forest, cast Violent Outburst. Dark Dwellers, like the Seasoned Pyromancer. That was impressive. I love that. Next round. I'm on the play in the 3rd round. And I'm going to keep this hand. This has a lot of glimpses coming. Yeah, the basic mountain saves me some life points. I can fetch a shock land and then untap and suspend a glimpse and work my way up to Omnath or Violent Outburst or whatever comes in between. Opponent seems to be cooking, and with blue mana, so this could be an Urza food deck, which I'm very excited about. That is totally my shit. Got the green. I need double red for it to suspend the glimpse, and I need the green to cast Violent Outburst. Right, so they're doing the Daredevil thing. Go for it. Risen Reef was a good draw. That lets me put more material on the board before I go for a glimpse. I've been sort of firing them off really early, which I think is not the correct play. I think you probably want to be playing them when you have the most possible material in play. I've been kind of quick on the trigger finger with those. Azmoran picking off my creatures left and right, I'm not super excited about, but is what it is. I'm just going to get the Hallowed Fountain right now, get set up for Omnath. Oh wait, I do have two. There's a Temple Garden the whole time. You all let me think last round that I was out of white sources. Why didn't you tell me? You personally. Yeah, there are two white sources. This deck is better constructed than I originally gave it credit for. They're going to make a second food in response so they can kill my Risen Reef with the foods at will. That's okay. The food will eventually do something. Let's hope this puts a permanent into play. Alright, just roasting it before it even triggers. That's why I led on the white source this turn, so I could have a land drop to go with Omnath next turn. If Risen Reef hit a land there. Because if I slow roll my white source, then I have to play the white source as land number 5 to cast the Omnath, and then I don't get the action. Opponent said in the chat, I'm thinking, skip this on YouTube. Don't worry, I edited out all the dead air. That's one of the hallmarks of my channel. Enjoy. They came up with an Urza Saga here. And cooking some books. Cooking some more books. I guess Omnath doesn't really do anything because they can just roast it. That Glimpse is coming down next turn. Dark Dwellers is pretty great. I could just Outburst right now and see what happens. I could Outburst on their turn and see what happens, but that denies me, though that does maybe play into a counterspell that they wouldn't be able to represent next turn. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the play is here, because I guess I could draw a card. Nope. This can kill Omnath in response to anything, so I think I should just cast Violent Outburst. And I'm going to protect my life total a little bit. Maybe I'm being a wuss, but maybe that's okay. I have to overpower this Azmoran somehow. She just has such control over the board right now. Here's a glimpse from Cascade mode. And that glimpse does, in fact, resolve. So, ooh, the Chancellor trigger on the bottom, the Violent Outburst will actually buff the creatures that come into play. That's pretty sick. First time we've seen that come up. I'm sure that's a very basic interaction in the deck that everyone who's played the deck is aware of, but that's not me. I'm doing all this for the first time, as usual. Azmoran killed my Chancellor of the Forge. That does save them one goblin from coming in, because this makes goblins equal to the number of... Ooh, that's a 5-drop. Sorry. Should have targeted Seasoned Pyromancer. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to discard Omnath and Violent Outburst. I kind of want the Dark Dwellers. And Outburst gives them all +1/+0. Attack with all those creatures, in they come. So you take 10 there, and I can get 2 basics and evoke this Wave Sifter before the next glimpse goes off. That's just 2 more permanents in play. Okay, let's go. Wave Sifter. Glimpse is in exile, ready to pop off next turn. There it is. Is it Urza time? It is Urza time. Let's see if they have a combo. They certainly have powerful interactions, though I don't know if they have like an actual combo kill. They're just turning these, tapping these to make Mox Diamonds, that's fine. And here comes this, do you have a counterspell? Didn't have one last turn. Okay, so that just resolved, and I would like to pay 2 life for my Shockland because all of this stuff is going to happen. I hit another... Right, yeah, it's definitely explosion time. I don't think it matters if Magic Online resolves this stack correctly. They are killing Omnath. That's fine. It's doing its job. Oh wait, no, Magic Online still thinks that... I think clearly Moto thinks that if Omnath leaves play, you should not get the subsequent triggers. Like, I think it's using... Like, I think it must be basing seeing the actual Omnath in play versus not seeing it. I'm just gonna float some mana here and then let my Warp World resolve. I'd like to pay 2 life. Yes, I have lots of it, thanks to Magic Online being confused. Okay, so I get to Glimpse again. Oh, I should have targeted myself with Endurance first and then put the Glimpse above that, but here we go. Should be able to win this game somehow. Tons of permanents into play. Colony Garden adds 2 permanents to play. That's broken. Colony Garden's broken. Ban it. Ban Colony Garden. Hashtag. Discard Omnath and Wave Sifter. That gives me 2 more triggers for Risen Reef. Another land into play. Do not pay 2 life. Discard. I don't think I'm going to need a 3rd Shardless Agent here. I can discard one of them, get another trigger. Colony Garden, Endurance U. I wish I had Endurance'd me. That was a mistake. Glimpse again. Yeah, I'll pay 2 life. Yes. I didn't float any mana. I'm definitely supposed to. I'm not convinced it matters. Chancellor, Chancellor. That should be lethal. And then I can Endurance myself. And then Dark Dweller, a Violent Outburst. I'm actually going to get 2 more spins before my Endurance even resolves. I should probably just not spin though. I think that's the better thing. Just don't attack. Or maybe I was supposed to put... Oh no. I'm going to lose to my Seasoned Pyromancers. I needed to put Endurance higher up on the stack. I just lost track of the number of cards in my deck. Bummer. Yeah, I blew it. This deck's hard. Oh wait, I can Violent Outburst still now. And what does that do? That could put Omnath into play. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh no! I passed priority. I needed to Violent Outburst while that was still... I have fucked this up royally. Yeah, I just decked myself when I should have won easily. This deck is hard. Yeah, and you can't decline Seasoned Pyromancer, right? Discard 2 cards and draw 2. Yep. I needed that Endurance to be higher up on the stack. I blew it. Yeah, and there's no way to instant speed. That was my chance. I needed a Violent Outburst, then I passed priority and just drew the last Glimpse. I had it one more look there. Damn. I missequenced that one. Alright. This deck is very tricky. It's harder than it looks. Okay, well, important to note that if Magic Online worked correctly, the first round of Omnaths would have reduced their life total to 0, and we wouldn't have had to do that. But here we are. This deck is probably going to have some chalices. I think I want more than 1 Endurance, and I want everything that can destroy an artifact. This is a matchup where I'm willing to go a little more control-y. Where am I going to find 8 cuts, though? That's the tricky part. I don't think... Like, I could just play fewer Glimpses. I could go down to 3 and just try to find... Like, rely on my Cascade spells to find them. Maybe this is just an insane board plan and I shouldn't even be messing with it. I mean, Omnath being bugged just changes the value of that card pretty significantly in all calculations, unfortunately. I'm mostly just boarding out cards at random right now. Not really at random, but definitely sort of doing the shaving thing, which is not generally good sideboard strategy. Do I shave a Violent Outburst as well? I mean, maybe that's heretical because this is the combo, but I think if I'm going to do that, I shave a Shardless Agent because the Outburst being able to go at instant speed changes some things. And I am going to be able to, I'm going to need to be able to win this game through non-combo measures because there's a good chance they have Chalice or some hateful thing that shuts me down. This is probably overboarding, but I am going to do it. This hand has Wave Sifter on 2, Shardless Agent on 3. Just need to draw a land in 2 draw steps. And even if I miss the land, Wave Sifter can start eating its clues. So I hope it doesn't come to that. Land. This is probably going to get Breeding Pool. I guess I could get Hallowed Fountain. Okay, I'm probably going to lose my Shardless Agent here, which does change what I'm going to fetch. In that case, I probably want Steam Vents, because that casts the Seasoned Pyromancer. And I can still sift the waves. Evoke this thing. Alright, finding some lands would be great. Cycled Street Wraith probably means Azmoran's coming. There she is. Prison Reef. Bummer. I could draw a card, hope to find the land. They've also missed a land drop. I'm going to draw the card. Nice, okay. Got paid off for that one. Could have passed the turn, leave up Mystical Dispute or a clue if they don't cast a spell, but drawing the land where I can still dispute is obviously just the nutters. Nile Spellbomb. That mostly doesn't matter. I mean, it does affect my looping quite a bit. I think I want Hallowed Fountain on this one. I don't think this deck's going to have Blood Moon. At least I hope not. Because I'm not prepared for that. I think I got to get the Reef in. If I hit a land here, I'm not going to put it into play because I still have my land drop. I can put it in my hand instead. So do not put that onto the battlefield because I can play it untapped as my land drop for the turn. Unfortunately, not a blue source, but this Risen Reef sets me up for Seasoned Pyromancer stuff. Seasoned Pyromancer making 2 elementals, trigger Reef twice, and they just had to discard an actual card to make food. They can kill Risen Reef with Azmoran if they want, but if it costs them they have to actually discard 2 cards to kill my Risen Reef, that's a deal. Kind of hoping they just pop the Spellbomb to draw a card at some point and let me develop. Ooh. Alright. Maybe they won't see the combo here. They see the combo. Bummer. Okay. My Reef is slain. The Nile Spellbomb actually being a huge beating at this point. Ooh. I can hard cast Ingot Chewer next turn, so no rush. They'll probably pop Spellbomb to draw right now, because they've been choked on mana for so long. Their cards are getting low. They just discarded an Urza and a Cookbook to kill a Risen Reef that already drew a card. So they're down 3 cards right now. Yeah, that makes sense. Spellbomb's out of the way. Now I can set up Dark Dweller Glimpse over a couple turns. Thought sees me, huh? That's a good one. Took the Dark Dwellers. Okay. They know what's going on with that. I don't think Azmoran gets to attack here. Both of our life totals are dangerously low. I do get to draw a card with my clue. And I'm just gonna cast Ingot Chewer, I think. I could cast Ingot Chewer, or I could suspend Glimpse of Tomorrow and leave up Endurance and Mystical Dispute. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. This chewing up the Cookbook doesn't matter that much right now, and if I chew up Cookbook and they play Chalice on 0 on the following turn, I'll feel like a big idiot. Whatever's about to happen, they've seen the Mystical Dispute. Okay. So they knew about this and still cast their Teferi into it. They must be testing for an Urza on the following turn, which does encourage me to chew up literally any artifact that's laying around. Ingot Chewer, chew up the cookbook. And if they have land Urza this turn, then they have land Urza this turn. Another cookbook. That was clearly their draw for the turn, because it would have been in play already if it wasn't. 2 turns left on the Glimpse. Oh, shouldn't have fetched. Omnath is a card in my deck. I should just be sitting on fetch lands in case I find Omnath. That was loosey-goosey. Just muscle memory, fetch in the end step. That's what you do, right? Do I want to attack? Yes, I think I do. Yeah. They're at 8 life, and I don't want to tunnel vision on my combo. I want to put them to dead to damage on board and also represent my combo next turn. Like, I have Endurance that can eat Azmoran in combat, and I have Mystical Dispute and the 6 mana to do both. Like, I'm pretty rolled up here. This game is mine to lose. Taking out Seasoned Pyromancer puts Seasoned Pyromancer in my graveyard, which can make 2 elementals. They discarded a 3rd cookbook. Okay. Then maybe the cookbook wasn't in their hand. Their hand's just not very good. Teferi. Yeah, that's a huge problem because that turns off my suspend spell. That's what they were baiting towards. They just needed to get the first Teferi countered so they could stick the second one. Yeah, this being a Teferi deck is a big problem. That stops both Cascade and Suspend. And in the end step here, I get to exile Seasoned Pyromancer from the graveyard. I could also just cast Endurance and block right now. Which of those is better? I think I'd like 2 Endurance, because that removes Azmoran from play, in addition to everything else that's going on. Alright, so it's not going to remove Azmoran from play, but it is going to take 2 foods. They are top decking at 3 life. Maybe I didn't want to, like, I could have put 2 more permanents in play. So I cast this, and then, oops, they just let it resolve. I was supposed to do other stuff there. Float mana. But I can destroy this. I think they're dead to this Omnath. I don't think Magic Online will be confused by a single Omnath. This one should just deal 4. Alright, squeaky clean. Seeing the Teferi is extremely interesting. That makes me pretty glad I shaved on a Glimpse. Thoughtseize is an interesting one. Fury can damage Teferi. Like, Goblin Dark Dwellers also doesn't work with Teferi in play. If they stick it to Teferi, my life is going to be shit. So I should have answers to Teferi in the deck where possible. Shave an Ingot Chewer, and probably just shave another Shardless Agent. That's just not a good card with Teferi around, and I could bring in another Omnath and just get, how low can I go? I could just go race to the bottom on the Glimpse combo. This might be terrible, but I'm trying it. I could go down to 2 Glimpses, or I could cut another Shardless Agent for another Endurance and just try to play fair. Like, 0 Shardless Agent, 3 Endurance, 3 Glimpses still in the deck, and the Outbursts and Dark Dwellers to do them. I could go down to 2 Glimpse, get my Ingot Chewer back in. I cut 1. Maybe this is crazy. Maybe yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to try to play fair Magic. We're going to juke. They juked into this Teferi deck. I'm going to juke into not really a combo deck. That's my plan. Let's see if it happens. Okay. I can keep this. By the way, I went into the Judge Chat IRC and made sure that the Omnath thing works how I think it does, and it does. That is a Magic Online mistake. Cooking some books. Alright. Fury is here. Oh, so is Daredevil. Okay, so they have that whole engine online. There's 4 cards that aren't Daredevil in their hand right now. Thoughtseize probably takes Risen Reef from this hand. Yep. Let's play a fetch land and pass. I'm working up to this Omnath at this point. Teferi's abating, it gets to kill my plant token. permanently, forever. Saga, that's also really good. Lots of good cards in this deck. And it does appear to be performing this game. I think I want Steam Vents, because that gets the colors that I don't have yet. Wasn't the 3-drop I was hoping for, but here's a white source. Maybe I should have played an untapped land, just to represent instant speed Cascade, the Violent Outburst. Like, if I shock in Temple Garden there, there's no way they tap out for Urza. If they tap out for Urza, they lose on a construct. I don't know. We'll see. All of this is difficult and weird. White, green, red, blue. Just gonna go for Omnath. If they have a Mystical Dispute, they have a Mystical Dispute. If they don't, I draw a card, and I have Omnath in play. And I'm ready to pop off next turn. If they find Azmoran, is what it is, I guess. But they haven't had her yet. She'd be in play if they had her. And they make a 6/6. I still have a plant token to block that. And they're going to get a nice juicy tutor here. Cycle Street Wraith in response to the trigger. That gives them more information to decide what they want to tutor for, or if they want to make a construct at all. Like, if they drew Urza for the turn, I don't think they make a construct here. They went for the Shadow Spear. They're going to attack for 9 lifelink. I'm going to ignore it and just take this damage. I guess it's 10 lifelink. That's probably the best play. Trying to control me is wrong. Almost certainly. Come on. Need a Warp World. Okay, so I get to play this, gain 4. I can fetch and make a bunch of mana. I need a red source off of this. So fetch. Gonna get Stomping Ground. I'll take the damage. I get my mana here. This casts Risen Reef. So I can Reef, which gets a trigger. Ooh, another Reef. So blue, green, green. I get to leave red floating. Because I'm going to cast Seasoned Pyromancer still. And they take 4 from that. I'm really interested in Ingot Chewer. That no longer does anything. So I get to Seasoned Pyromancer, discarding 2 creatures, discarding probably Dark Dwellers, or maybe I discard the land and the Chancellor, though I think Dark Dwellers have to go. So Dark Dweller and Chancellor, I get 4 more triggers here. Honestly, not even sure what I'm looking for at this point. I'm just trying to survive the turn. This doesn't feel great. Colony Garden absorbs damage. If there's a warp, I can exile Warp to cast Fury and get 2 more triggers, but that doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't kill any of their creatures. I could attack with Omnath. If they block, that's still not enough. Yeah, that's just... I'm just gonna pass and hope I'm not dead. I'm gonna have to block everything with everything, and then hope to win with my Warp. Another Cookbook, so that's 2 more artifacts that can come into play. Okay, so they're attacking with at least 13. I need to put 4 in front of it. Minimum. I'm gonna block with Omnath. They could, I guess, Fatal Push to also screw up my damage. Right, so this is a bunch in front of it. So there's 8 in front of it. If they Fatal Push one of these creatures, it's still not lethal. Alright, these are my blocks. Please don't kill me. If they just get all of these, I think that's fine. Yeah, there's a 12-12. They do it again. 13-13. Where that extra damage came from. If they can kill 2 of these creatures, I lose. Alright, looks like they killed 0 of those creatures. They left Seasoned Pyromancer in play, dealing 0 trample damage to me. That was interesting. They just don't want to give me 2 more elementals. I guess that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I mean, It's go time. I don't want to crack this fetch land, I don't think. So green, green, blue, green, red, red, blue, green, red, all floating. And then Violent Outburst, I guess? I could Wave Sifter first. I like that. That triggers the Risen Reefs and puts 2 additional things into play. So this goes into my hand. Or it's actually 3 things because I can respond to the trigger. Alright, so investigate twice. And then with Wave Sifter still on the stack, I can Violent Outburst. Or Wave Sifter's Evoke still on the stack. And I'm holding up the Mystical Dispute. Okay, do I want to pay 2 life? How many fetch land or shotguns came in? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 came in. No. 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 Yes? I'm kind of playing quickly, which is not lending itself well to everything playing perfectly. But I am trying to get this game won. Okay, so Omnath triggers are on the stack. This is going to be a ridiculous trigger turn. Got a bunch of mana off of that. And then I'm going to discard 2 things. Discard Fury and Glimpse. And then Endurance will put the Glimpse back in my deck, where I can Outburst for it again. I can Investigate twice. Investigate twice. Colony Garden makes a trigger. Omnath draws a card. Ingot Chewer destroys their thing. And then float mana. Blue. Violent Outburst again in response to this. This way, if my goblins come into play, they're going to get +2/+0. Around we go again. Just got to be careful to stack my triggers appropriately. And I have enough mana to Mystical Dispute a counterspell, which I'm sure they don't have or they would have played already. And even if they win the counter war, I could still Dark Dwellers and fire off Glimpse again. Alright, I paid for all of my things. Oh god. Ingot Chewer, destroy one of the constructs. Colony Garden. Can't even see all these. Fury. I guess deal all of your damage there. Other Fury. Deal all of your damage also to that construct. Oh my god. Clicking through these triggers is my absolute nightmare. This can destroy that. Endurance, at what point do you go on the stack? I think you go on the stack under all of these, target myself. Then this. The Risen Reefs will go under the Pyromancers. Still didn't find a goblin thing. Did I board those out? I don't actually remember. Okay. Omnath, do stuff. Oh, my opponent's eating food. That's fine. Go for it. And Omnath triggers are occurring. Get to do 2 things. I'm actually not going to cast this just for time. Discard Dark Dwellers and Scalding Tarn. I think I can win this game in combat. Okay, I just need to find the goblin thing. There it is. Okay. And then discard Risen Reef and Dark Dwellers. Colony Garden triggers. Yeah, just have to click through these triggers fast enough and I can hard cast the goblin thing. My hand is full of Mystical Disputes at this point, and Ingot Chewers. Omnath draws a card. Endurance puts my deck on the bottom. I destroy all their stuff. Yes. Kill your shit. Kill your shit. Kill your shit. Trigger. Kill your shit. My creatures are bigger. My creatures are bigger. And then that original Wave Sifter dies. LOL. It's been dead. Okay, here's Chancellor of the Forge. Making lots of tokens. Then I'm gonna Violent Outburst and not I'm going to decline to cast the spell. I just want the +1/+0. Woof. Alright, so 4 matches in, and I've only lost the games where I stacked my triggers wrong, or Moto did the wrong thing. We're going into the finals. I'm on the play in the final round against an Obosh deck. I am going to keep my hand that has a very fast, very powerful Shardless Agent. I have 2 extra permanents, so I can glimpse for 5 permanents on turn 3 on the play. That's well above average. And because it's an Obosh deck, there's a chance I'll be able to get under their 3-drop. Because it depends on what sort of Obosh deck they are. Okay, they're the kind that wants to Flame Slash my free creature to not die immediately. This is likely a Blood Moon deck, so that's something to consider. I'm gonna fetch basic Island and just make sure that I can play this game. Basic Island. I could also just Reef this turn and start pulling ahead on that material. Like, swinging for the fences is fun, but winning for sure is better. I'm gonna go for it though. I get the extra thing, they're behind. I'm just really worried about getting locked out by some nonsense. And even if this just hits like Omnath and nothing else. Oh god. I actually just Stone Rained myself by casting that. Shit. Should have waited, it seems. Hopefully that weirded them out enough that they don't just win the game. Yeah, I literally just Stone Rained my forest. That's what happened there. Yeah, that was weird. I can't even tell what was what was revealed and what was thrown away there. Okay, so I get to Risen Reef and start to rebuild here. Risen Reef now, Young Pyromancer later. Or Old Pyromancer. Can discard Chancellor and get at least 1 Reef trigger. Though I suspect that this opponent has some removal spells in their deck. Oh, they went from Hellbent. That was a Hellbent Seasoned Pyromancer. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think discarding Omnath will be better than playing it here. Because I can cast the Dark Dwellers next turn, and I just want to make sure I have tons of stuff in play to do it. And that is, in fact, what's happening right now. Okay, ship the turn. Ragavan's unlikely to hit me here. There are only 2 Omnaths left in the deck, which I need to consider when I just start warping the worlds. I will block Ragavan, but I'm not going to block the Seasoned Pyromancer. 2 damage is fine. I don't want them to pull ahead on cards, though. Backup Ragavan. That makes a lot of sense, given their play. Okay, so I can white, blue, red, green, Omnath, draw a card, land drop, gain 4 life, land drop, cast Dark Dwellers. It doesn't matter what land I get here. Float blue on the way out, I guess. Or do I want to float green? Yeah, I think I want to float green. Gonna warp the world again. Around we go. Would you like to pay 2 life? No, I don't think so. Dark Dwellers. Do you have any targets? Alright, Dark Dwellers doesn't have any targets. Bummer. Okay. So Seasoned Pyromancer can discard Scalding Tarn and Wave Shifter. And it can discard Glimpse and Risen Reef. I kind of want this Omnath back in play, so I can fetch for a white source with this one. Oh, it seems like I just randomly chose wrong with what color I floated, so I have to get red as well. Whoops. I probably didn't need to take that much damage this turn. And by probably, I mean definitely. White, blue, red. Omnath draws a card, and I'm set up for next round. They're Hellbent. My board is out of control. That was the best draw in their deck, and I can't imagine that it's still even good enough. I guess if they have Bolt, Bolt, Bolt over the next 2 turns and I just literally don't do anything, I have a fetch land in my hand. We're doing something. Right, Omnath trigger. Fetch. Omnath trigger. More Omnath. And there's nothing for my Dark Dweller to trigger right now, so I'm gonna play the Risen Reef. See where that goes. Colony Garden triggers. Omnath does the dome thing. And I guess I suspend this thing and attack with my permanents. Or at least the good ones. Yeah, bash with these. They get a trade. They get a bunch of trades. But trading with young Pyromancer in this spot, or old Pyromancer, is pretty dangerous because they get to go off with Risen Reef. And they packed it right up. Alright. Against an Obosh deck, what do I want to do here? This is a deck full of removal and burn and probably Blood Moon. Almost certainly Blood Moon. It's also a Ragavan deck. It's a deck that contains creatures, so I don't think I really need Endurance. I like Fury, and I definitely want the Foundation Breaker to deal with potential Blood Moons. What is less good here? I don't love Omnath against the potential Moon. I want fast combos against this deck, so I'm going to go a little thinner on the higher end stuff and just keep all of the combo stuff. I want my stuff that can play through Blood Moon as well. I'm going to cut one of the Chancellors. I just don't think that card is super important. I like having some of them in there so you can actually win the game within your clock. But it's definitely cuttable. You can win the game without it. It's just going to take a while to click through the triggers. This is a keeper. I have Foundation Breaker in case they have Blood Moon or Chalice of the Void, and I have the curve up into the combo. I can fetch. I'm going to play Misty to make sure I can fetch a basic forest and play this game, rather than lead on Colony Garden, though I guess they're unlikely to be able to ramp in the mono red. They are still an Obosh deck. That is relevant. Do I want to fetch now? I guess there's no reason to if this is earmarked for a basic anyway. So I'm going to play my Garden, and I can fetch for a basic at any point. Basic Forest or Island. Just drawing a card right away with their Spell Bomb. Lightning Bolting Colony Garden tokens. You can tell this matchup is bad for them when they're doing stuff like Lightning Bolting Colony Garden tokens. This is an interesting spot. I could fetch a red source here and cast Seasoned Pyromancer and just start pulling ahead in that direction. But I think I'm going to stay the course on leaving basic lands available to me. I'm going to get basic Island with my Scalding Tarn, and then evoke Wave Sifter, and then I can get basic Forest with the Misty, and I should have a pretty big Outburst lined up next turn. This is only 2 spells, so even something like Mindbreak Trap doesn't get me. I was ready for that. Alright, yeah, that was probably their big play of the game, and just worked through it. Okay, I'm gonna play my Hallowed Fountain because it doesn't matter. And then leave blue floating when I outburst. So spinning away my basics is kind of dangerous. Maybe I don't want to do that. Oh yeah, maybe I just want to cast Foundation Breaker and destroy Blood Moon. Yeah, that's a reasonable play. And this lines up, or this doesn't line up Omnath for next turn because I don't have red mana in play. Okay. Juked him. Oh no, what will I do now? My concern here, as stated last turn, is that I will rotate into something that doesn't win the game and isn't basic lands. Like they'll be able to somehow lock me out. And I can attack for 2 here and put their Magus of the Moon to the test. Okay. I can just try to play this game fair and square like this. Because they have 3 cards left in their hand. I can't imagine them being very good. Okay, I mean, Fury definitely plays here. I'll accept that. That's pretty good. But it does only kill 2 of these things. One of which comes back for more. I am not going to draw a card with my clues. I think they'll be better as flips. Ooh. Oof. That has double strike. Okay, so I can't attack first, but I can cast my own Fury. Here's Fury. Deal 3 to you and 1 to you. Is a 3/3, right? Yep. Just make sure I don't mess that up. Then attack for 1. At some point, just having these other cards ready to go, like my combo just in the tank, is going to be important. But putting them to the test, if I can beat them without committing to a combo, then that's obviously just way better. So, Wave Shifter, I'm not going to be able to get that into play first, so I think it is time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 1 short of escape, or it's not escape, exiling exiling Seasoned Pyromancer for 2 extra tokens before I pop. So I think I'll just pop. I could also just cast. Wait. Cancel. I'll also just cast Wave Sifter. That is allowed. Okay, yeah, that works. I like that. They're gonna have to find some other kind of answer to this. Hammer of Bogarden, welcome to Modern, by the way. Looks like they are gonna rebuy it this turn. 3 mana, deal 3 sorcery, 5 mana in your upkeep, you can return it to your hand. Crushing endgame. They get to draw another card here, or 2 extra cards. And they have 1 card to discard. Bosh is still waiting over there. Cycling Forgotten Cave's pretty good. Oh my god. Alright, they're going off. I'm probably going to want to combo this turn. Alright, right now while they're tapped out is the time to go for it, I think. I'm not giving them this trade. I want the permanent available. Let's do the thing. Okay. I think I want to save my land drop. Does that make any sense? Because if I draw a basic land later, I want to be able to play it. So, yeah, that does make sense to me. I'm going to Violent Outburst, leaving the blue floating. Let's do the twist. Okay, so Fury takes out Magus of the Moon and one of the Pyromancers, I guess. And then Dark Dwellers casts this, and I'm gonna maintain priority to float mana. Found another blue. Hit the basic island again. Found another Fury. Deal 2 damage to this and 2 damage to this. So this is the thing I was worried about, where this didn't actually go anywhere or do anything. And now, oh, I guess I'm not under Blood Moon anymore. That's right. All of this is still true. So I can exile Seasoned Pyromancer. Still with the first Violent Outburst on the stack, which I am still going to respond to in case I hit the Goblin thing. I just respond to this again, the combo again with the combo. Around and around we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. Would you like to pay 2 life? No, I don't think so. Then I'm going to target the Glimpse. Ooh, I should be stacking these in the other direction. Make sure I don't deck myself. Actually, I have enough cards that it doesn't matter right now. Okay, that's in my hand. Shardless Agent in my hand. Colony Garden in play. Hallowed Fountain in play. Discard Agent and Glimpse. Get some more triggers. Colony Garden in play. Basic Forest in play. Goblin thing in my hand. Endurance in my hand. Scalding Tarn in play. Steam Vents in play. Wave Sifter in my hand. Misty in play. Mountain in play. Another Violent Outburst in my hand. Discard 2 creatures. Get some more triggers. Wave Sifter in hand. Stomping Ground in play. Outburst in hand. Stomping Ground in play. Breeding Pool in play. Another Glimpse in my hand. Colony Garden. And I guess I want a Glimpse again. Here we go! Gotta make sure I don't deck myself. Would you like to pay 2 life? Yes. Would you like to pay 2 life? Yes. Okay, I think we did it this time. I have an Endurance in my hand that I can tuck into the deck. Oh god. So much is happening right now. Okay. I'm gonna destroy their Pyrite Spellbomb. That's gonna happen one way or the other. And then I want the Risen Reefs on the bottom because I don't die to those. I'm learning how to stack this one step at a time. Okay, Omnath triggers are happening first. Gain life, do a bunch of stuff. And then I think I'm actually going to decline to Warp World just because of all of the reasons that we've experienced so far. No, I'm going to decline on all of these Dark Dwellers. And I discard 2 lands to draw 2 cards. And there's 3 cards left in my deck, so I can discard 2 more cards, draw 2 cards, and then I can cast Endurance for blue. I actually want the Risen Reef triggers to resolve first, so I don't deck myself. Steam Vents into play. This is somewhat miserable to resolve in Magic Online. Just saying. Alright. Do not put that into play, so I can hide this Obosh. Fury in my hand. Fury in my hand. Omnath in hand. Scalding Tarn in play. Misty Rainforest in play. Oh my god, another Seasoned Pyromancer's coming. I actually don't want to discard creatures because I don't want more triggers. 4 cards left in my deck, and all of these Risen Reefs are still happening. Do I have a second Endurance in the deck, or did I manage to jack this up anyway? Okay. I can cast the Goblin thing. Alright, I am out of things to do here. I have to win this turn with the Goblins, and I think I am there. I'm gonna win with 0 cards in my deck. That could have easily gone wrong. They're at 13. They have 1 blocker. I think I have more creatures than that. There is Chancellor. As long as there's 14 goblins here, the game is over. Alright, we did it. Winning with 0 cards in the library. Yikes. That was stressful stuff. They block with their meager token and take infinity. 4-1 with this deck, and the loss was both a Moto Bug and a trigger nonsense. Like, we lost to the clock. Well, we would have won to the clock if Magic Online worked correctly, but then we lost to the clock afterwards because it's Magic Online. I'm counting this as a 5-0 in our hearts. It won't get posted, but the deck performed. This was completely insane. The rules here are very tricky. Keeping track of triggers will be very tricky. If you choose to play this deck on Magic Online, like we just saw, make sure you know exactly what you're doing with those triggers. And also keep an eye on the clock at all times. If you're playing this in real life, make sure you have a way to keep track of those triggers. Holy guacamole. Like, I would recommend like a printout, like print a regular 8.5 by 11 printer paper with like Risen Reef on it, Omnath on it, maybe Seasoned Pyromancer on it, and then use like D20s to indicate how many triggers you have of each after a Glimpse resolves. That's probably how I would do it. You need some way to keep track of that because your brain's not going to do it. Also, knowing which Omnaths, which triggers came from is important. But the power level of this deck is out of control. Like, I'm actually kind of shocked that this is just a thing you can do in Modern. I've seen the list posted on Twitter over the last few weeks, and I've been like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. but I haven't actually seen it in action until now, and wow, it was filthy. I don't have anything else to say about this deck because the power level is there. Just make sure that you know how to play it if it's paper, and make sure you know how to stack your triggers if it's Moto. And that's really all I have to say about this. Tom, thank you for cutting me loose and letting me do this crazy thing. I probably wouldn't have gotten to play this deck otherwise, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad it's on the channel. Holy crap. I'm about to go order a bunch of Glimpse of Tomorrows and hope they don't get banned before I get to play Modern. This was a lot of fun. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Tom, for letting me do this. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel while you're here. Check out the Patreon. Check out YouTube membership if you want to support the channel even more. There's BoshNRoll merch. All the links are below. If you're shopping on TCG Player, if you're going to go buy some Glimpse of Tomorrows, make sure to do it through my affiliate link so I get helped out with that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.